Welcome to the Youth Inquiry and Action series, brought to you by Innovations for Youth, a research center at the University of California, Berkeley. My name is Rain, and I'm a student at UC Berkeley. In this training video series, we'll explore different ways to amplify your voices, hear from your peers, and make positive change in your schools and communities. To hear from your peers and make meaningful change, we can use tools for inquiry. Inquiry is a process of asking questions to uncover answers. Anyone can inquire, including you. In this video series, we'll dive into what it means to use these tools for inquiry. We encourage you to take notes, pause the video, and reflect on the concepts as we go. In our last video, we explored how to analyze photos for a Photovoice project using the showed process. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but when pictures are combined with your voice, there's the potential to create real change. In this video, you'll learn how to create photo narratives and share your insights with others to make an impact. More specifically, we'll talk through 3 steps for moving from inquiry to action. Step 1, write photo narratives. Step 2, connect the photos with a bigger story. And step 3, organize an exhibition to share the message and inspire action. A photo narrative is a written explanation of the context and meaning of each picture. Based on what you've analyzed through the showed process, you can write a few sentences sharing reflections on photos. There are a few key components to communicating an effective photo narrative. Let's talk about the components and then explore an example. Be clear and concise when explaining the meaning of photos. Write a few short sentences that provide detail and clarity. Give context to help people understand what's happening in the photos and how it relates to your overall topic. Consider your audience and who will be reading your photo narrative. Write in a way that connects with and directly speaks to your audience. Connect back to your topic. In the narrative, explicitly say how the photo connects to the topic of inquiry. Let's give it a try. Do you remember this picture from the previous training video? Let's walk through how to write a photo narrative on the topic of school connectedness. Here's one example of a photo narrative for this image that reads, "Students show school spirit and cheer for their high school football team at the fall pep rally. School events like sports games and pep rallies offer a setting for students to feel connected to their school and peers." We can create more school events and spaces like this throughout the school year so that students can feel connected to their school and peers. This photo narrative, or caption, is clear and concise and delivers a message to an audience of students and staff about school connectedness. As we create photo narratives, we should remember that our point of view plays a part, meaning that our perspectives, experiences, backgrounds, and cultures can influence the way we view and interpret images. Your job is to write about your own point of view and explain how it affects the way you capture and understand the photo. But it's important to understand that you and I might look at the same photo and see 2 different ideas. For example, take a look at this picture. At first glance, I see a bunny rabbit, but you might see a duck. Because of our individual points of view, we may take away or interpret different things from the same image. Seeing different things doesn't make either of our observations less valid. When writing your photo narrative, consider how your image can tell a story from your point of view to people who might have a different perspective. You may also work as a group to capture shared or diverse perspectives on your photos. Your collective narrative might be about both a rabbit and a duck. After writing photo narratives for each image, consider, how do all of these photos connect to tell a bigger story? First, remind yourself of the goal of your Photovoice project. Your photos should be connected and organized in a way to achieve that goal. For example, your goal might be to use photos to explore how your school promotes a sense of belonging for students. Keeping your goal in mind, you might try grouping the photos that deliver similar messages. For instance, some photos may show examples of youth connecting with trusted adults at school, and others may show challenges, like youth being treated unkindly by peers. Once you've organized your photos and stories, now it's time to plan for sharing to make an impact. There are a lot of ways to share your findings, but we will introduce one way of sharing your photos and stories, organizing a photo exhibition. First, think about the order of the photos you're planning to exhibit. Order your images to make your story powerful. For example, you can start with the photos that show the strong examples of youth connection. Then, you can follow with photos that show challenges, making connections, and then end with photos of your vision for change. Next, find a space for the Photovoice exposition. For example, the school library or cafeteria, the local art gallery, a booth at a market, or at a community center can be possible exhibit venues. Think about the best way to display your photos in that venue. This could be on a poster board, in a display case, hung from a rope line, or as an electronic slideshow, just to name a few. Next, invite key allies. Reflecting back on your goal of the Photovoice project, think of who are the important people you would like to share your findings with so that you can make positive change. They can be school leaders, teachers, parents, or other young people. Send invites by email or social media, post flyers, or any other way to get the word out. Lastly, you can prepare a brief introduction to the project, describing who participated and what inspired it. You can also provide a summary of your main findings and a call for action, what you hope will happen as a result of your project. Remember, an exhibition is not just about showing photos. It's about sharing your stories and starting a conversation. Try to display your photos in a way that can encourage your audience to reflect on what they see and think about the actions they can take to support your visions for change. In this video, we introduce you to the basics of writing your narrative captions, connecting photos to tell a bigger story, and organizing an exhibition. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out the others in the series to learn more about additional methods for inquiry.